I would like to welcome all of you to this living teaching of Advaita. If you are online and would like to ask a question or make a comment, then instructions on how to raise your hand electronically can be found in the chat window. What is your name?
Pavini?
Parvati?
Yeah.
Have we met before, Parvati?
No.
So how is it that you find yourself here today, Parvati?
I've been on this self-discovery journey, and I met Jay, who mentioned about this. So I've done some of the Vipassana and some of the Francis Advaita teachings, etc. And I actually even earlier this year read Nisargadatta Maharaj's book and some of the explanations from them through another teacher. So it was very, very humbling to hear. And then I got connected to you through Jay. So it was really nice coincidence.
So have you read anything that I've written or looked at any YouTube videos or anything? So
I haven't read yours. I just found out about you last week. So I'm
okay.
looking forward to catching up.
So your journey has taken you obviously a number of places already. How long have you been actively on this path of discovery?
I think since childhood, but more recently, the last 10 years.
Was there anything in particular that stimulated this? Any life event or something that?
Just why and understanding the true self. Yeah. When you read the things, it resonates. It's like you're kind of the talks and all, they feel like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, so it's not that I'm doubting, but at the same time, it's the experientially, like you're still not completely beyond the body mind. So you can, when you're established in that sense of I am, or you can know there are things happening, but you can, and I'm not sure I'm using the right words.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But you can.
I won't punish you too badly for any mistakes in Advaita.
You can experience the consciousness more through the body sense. So you can kind of, you're aware about the vibrations and the perceptions and all. But I don't think I have unlocked beyond that. Like, what is like because even when you're kind of just feeling the vibrations, or when you're not kind of knowing you're not seeing the body as a dense mass, but more kind of lucent vibrations. But even in all those times, there's constantly still, that there is this kind of body, mind, or identity. So it's not completely kind of cut off.
Right.
And so I still kind of experientially haven't kind of digested some of the scriptures or talks.
Right.
And then sometimes when you just go into question answer, I got super confused over the weekend on kind of the consciousness and the things, like the identities that come up. Anyway, so I'm just taking it easy and digesting and letting things unfold.
I see. So this question of identity, and I would say that of all of the current discussions of this confusion, and I can tell you only, I don't know anybody else's teaching. I don't talk about anybody else's teachings. I don't have any problem with anybody else's teachings. I only have this living teaching of Advaita. And Uh, even that's not true. It's simply a collection of pointers that on a good day may bring about some kind of direct seeing or insight on your part of what is being pointed to. But at the same time, these pointers are often intellectual, they're conceptual.
Yeah.
And so they have value in the moment if they do somewhere.
Mhm.
If not, they're just more words.
Mhm.
But they do potentially have value as pointers. And so I keep talking. This question of identity is really a very rich vein for in looking at this sense that I am someone. And as long as there is this identification as me, then this identity, the sense that I am Wayne, or I am, is it Parvini or Parvene?
Bhavini.
Parvini.
Yeah.
Okay, that I am Parvini, that this sense need not be a hindrance to a further recognition of things.
Mm.
Because this quality of identity is part of what is.
Mm.
It's happening.
Mm.
And it is very much happening as part of your day-to-day activity. And when you go into Starbucks and you put an order and they call your name, it is good to have the identification with the body, mind, and the name so that you can collect your coffee.
Mhm.
It's just very practical in that regard. So in this teaching, we're not really concerned about transcending or getting rid of our identity and identifying not as me, but as the totality or I am or consciousness or source or whatever. And it is the recognition that what I am
Mm.
as Parvati, as Wayne, is an aspect of this totality, of this source. So in no way independent of it,
Mhm.
very much integral. It is what we are.
Mhm.
So as we get more subtle in this, you say, well, what's the problem then? Because when I identify as me, often I suffer. And when I see myself and recognize myself as this vast totality of being, the suffering's coming.
Mhm.
So obviously, it would be better to be totality than to be me. And so we'll get rid of me and I'll be totality and everything is going to be fine and I'll stop suffering. This is like sort of a principle that's a spiritual path that many people take. There's only one problem with it, and that is that as even the great sage Ramana Maharshi, when somebody said Ramana, he turned around, said, "Whose cow is this?" "Mine. This is my cow. This is my ashram." There is So there is identity there. Recognition, I'm Brahman. Now, so what is absent then in this age? What's absent? What's absent is the sense that this identity is independent of everything. And it is this quality of independence that attaches to the identity and brings the suffering. Not the identity itself. The identity is purely functional. It's how this whole dance of life plays. But this quality of independence attaches itself or claims the identity and says, I am independent. I am something independent of you and of all the other objects in the world. And what comes with this quality of independence is a sense that I, as this independent entity, is responsible for what happens. Good and bad. Good, I'm very proud. Look what I've done. From my power, I've made this, I've done this, I've accomplished this. And I've done it. Nobody else did it. I did it. And then the flip side of that coin is guilt. I shouldn't have done that. I'm such a piece of shit. I should have, authored some other action rather than this one that was unkind, was cruel, was horrible, that it had this bad result. And there's the feeling of guilt for being responsible for the creation or authoring of that action. So in this living teaching of Advaita, what we're concerned with very fundamentally is the same question that you've heard 100 times. Who am I? What am I? Really? But without throwing out the me that has qualities and characteristics, which has strengths, which has weaknesses, which has, quote, faults, which has beautiful qualities. All of these things that make up me are me, we can say. And it's what differentiates me from you. So from that beginning of starting with me, we can then begin to explore the nature of this me. And to see whether this feeling, when this feeling arises of, the easiest one is when guilt arises. And you say, I shouldn't have done that. And you're not just saying it, you feel it in your guts, where you're sick over something that you've done that you shouldn't have done it. And inherent in that feeling is the sense that I authored it, that I am ultimately responsible. And that's where we're looking and saying, is this true? Are we? And the teaching doesn't answer the question. Teaching raises the question for you to potentially, if you're so moved, to. Yes, Adam.
Здравствуйте, Уэйн.
Hello, Wayne.
Вам знакома концепция мультивселенных?
Are you familiar with the concept of the a multi? Okay, sorry. Are you familiar,
Adam? What is it in English, Adam?
with the concept of the multi universe?
The multi-universe. No.
Просто я читал, что а, есть фильмы про то, что каждое мгновение мы создаем бесконечное количество новых вселенных с помощью нашего квантового сознания. Что вы
It's
думаете?
just that I know that there are movies about the fact that each time we create new universes with the power of our consciousness. What do you think about that?
I don't think anything about that. What do you think about that?
Ну,
Is it our consciousness to begin with? That's my question.
ученые считают, что у сознания квантовая природа.
Scientists think that a consciousness is quantum by nature. It has a quantum a quality.
Well, I think there's probably a lot of disagreement among scientists on everything. So the question is, what do you see?
Ну, я верю, что мы создаем свою реальность с помощью
I
сознания.
believe that we create our own reality with the help of our consciousness and our quantum consciousness. Our quantum choice points us to where we want to go, and that our desires, our dreams, they turn reality around and point it in the direction in which we want it to go.
Oh, okay. If you believe that, that's fine with me.
Но в этом это, это звучит круто и
Well,
как
just
бы...
it it sounds really great, and it seems that it really works. That we all create our own reality each minute with our thoughts, with our feelings. That we create karma, then we get rid of that karma, and we do what we want to do, and we have a complete freedom of choice and also full responsibility for every choice we make, because everything that we do, we have to turn it around and face it.
So what makes you create the consciousness that you create? What makes you create the reality that you create? Why don't you create the most perfect reality ever imagined, in which you have 1,000 orgasms every second? Why would you create a reality in which you suffer? I don't understand. Do you lack imagination?
Но это реальность, которую я создал.
But the reality which I've created, this world, it's beautiful. Yes, in my life, I've had suffering, I've had happiness, and also I receive great pleasure. Like right now, I live in California. That's really great. I really have fun
Is
in
living
life.
in
I get a kick
California
out
the
of life.
best you can do, Adam? In terms of creating a reality? I mean, I like California a lot, but
Ну, А мне нравится изучать эту реальность.
I like to study this reality.
Okay. I'm not stopping you.
Окей. Thank you, master.
You're very welcome, Adam. Yes, Travis.
Yeah, I guess I was just curious about like, so when the false sense of authorship, can it ever truly be said that it's gone forever?
And we can say anything we want because it was never there in the first place.
But the feeling that it's there,
Feelings come and go.
yeah. So like, what makes a sage if, you know, like, isn't the feeling that it's gone?
No, the possibility that it was ever there is gone.
And that's when that yeah, that's complete, right? Like that's
Yeah.
and that just happens or not.
Like everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why this image of the hypnotic suggestion is somewhat useful, perhaps, that when you hypnotize to believe that your clothes are on fire, you will make every attempt to put out the fire. When the hypnotic suggestion is removed, you're not sitting around saying, where did the fire go? Metaphor fails because the hypnotic suggestion is something that is its very nature. And what we're pointing to is that this death of the false sense of authorship, the death is the point at which it simply can't come back. It's dead. It's just not resurrectable.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
Yeah, it seems like in my day-to-day life it comes and goes.
it does, yes. In everybody's day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Вообще есть какая-то свобода выбора?
Do we have any freedom of choice?
Yes and no.
Какая есть, какой нету?
So, which one do we have and which one do we not have?
So the story I tell about this is I was on an airplane. I'm often on airplanes. And the flight attendant asked me what I would like to drink. And I said I would have a sparkling water with a lemon or a lime, please. And she said, well, would you like a lemon or a lime? You have a choice. And I said, okay, I'll have a lime. And she went off and got my drink and brought it back. And there was sparkling water with a lemon in it. And she says, I'm very sorry. I went back to make your drink and I found that they did not put any limes on the airplane today. So I gave you the lemon. So yes, I had the choice. I made the choice and I got what I got.
Ну, то есть выбор иллюзорный получается.
So the choice is an illusory one.
Well, sometimes I choose a lime and I get a lime. And then we can say, yes, my choosing the lime was part of the process of my getting the lime in that event. So we have the choice.
Ну, это случайность, как бы совпадение, можно сказать. Но вот меня все-таки, ну вот, интересует вопрос, ну, вот что
But
нас...
we can say that it's a coincidence, right? Because I'm very interested in the question, like what makes us different from the animals? Like, how can we influence reality?
I don't know what you mean by influence it. If you're asking how can we author it from our own power, I would have to tell you I don't know. I have no experience being able to do that. But I am certainly part of what happens. So my thoughts, my choices, my actions are part of this vast happening.
Ну, вот существует концепция, что все предопределено.
Well, like for instance, there is this a concept of things being preordained, and that all the good things that happen to us, this is grace, and this was something which was like preordained before we were born.
If you like that system, fine. Doesn't do anything for me, but if you like it, lots of people like it.
Ну, смотрите, исходя из этой концепции, получается, что ну,
So
мы
if we go from this concept, it means that we don't react to events, like if our sense of authorship goes away.
No, the point is, the teaching asks you what makes you react to things. What is the source of your reaction? Yes, if your sense of authorship was responsible for your reaction and your sense of authorship goes away, there would be no reaction. But is it responsible for your reaction in the first place? That's the question. Or is your reaction part of a bigger function? These are the questions that the teaching points you to look at.
Ну, насколько я понимаю, реакция предопределена. Ну, я не
Well,
могу...
as far as I can see, my reaction is preordained. I can't change it, but I can control sort of like the aftertaste.
So your controlling of the aftertaste is not preordained?
Ну, наверное, предопределено тоже.
Well, it's probably also preordained.
Okay.
Ну, тогда на что же мы влияем? Ни на что?
So, like, then what do we influence then? It turns out that we don't influence anything, like, we're the right questions and the right answers.
Yes, if everything is preordained, that's absolutely true.
Но вы не согласны с этой концепцией. Что тогда нет?
But you don't agree with this concept, right? Then so what is not preordained then?
No. I don't disagree with the concept. I just think it is too limited a concept for my taste. It's too simplistic a concept for my taste. I prefer the holographic model. See, preordained is linear. This comes before that and causes this. Preordained. The holographic model is that everything that happens is part of a vast unity. And that everything causes everything else.
Ну, имеется в виду, что Вселенная — отражение меня.
Meaning that the universe is an expression of me.
No, that you are an expression of the universe. They are not two. And that is what Advaita means. Not two.
Нет, ну я имею в виду то, что я и Вселенная — это одно. То
Yes,
есть
that's what I mean. It's that and me and the universe are one, and all like all of my qualities are expressed without, are expressed into the universe.
No, as part of the functioning of the universe.
Благодарю.
Thank you.
I can't help but feel like if you follow that to its logical conclusion, then there's only the universe. There's no room for me in that picture. As well, yeah.
Why? I mean, it may be in that picture, but
Yeah, I mean,
is there room for you like right here?
well, this is part of the universe being called me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
I mean, like that's the door.
Yes, that is the part of the universe called the door.
I mean, the me is nominal.
When you say nominal, what do you mean?
Notional. It's a concept.
Well, ultimately, everything can be said to be a concept. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything that exists can be said to be conceptual.
And so if we're looking at everything as a vast happening, this
Yes.
universal vast happening,
Yes.
and it's me looking at this universal vast happening,
Yes.
then you could say it's all me, it's all the universe. Either one is equally valid.
Yes, you can always say whatever you like.
I mean, just by that model, by the holographic model.
Yes. I mean, with the understanding that it is all one, it's all one. I mean, it's all, and everything is an expression of that unity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the way we talk about it or conceptualize it. And then, the quantum physicists and such, are suggesting that these quanta are defined by that which perceives them. So what something is defined by what perceives it. But it's a big step to go from there to saying that I am making that happen.
Sure.
So I am the instrument through which this quanta is, quote, created. I am not the author of any of it.
Yeah. It almost feels like there's nothing actually happening by that sense. I mean, in the sense that like
We can
something
say,
happening.
we can say that, we can say that as well. I mean, at the level of the totality, nothing is happening. That is, but obviously, if we're saying that, something's happening.
Yeah,
We're saying, the saying is happening,
yeah.
something's happening.
So amazing that both of those things can be true.
Yeah.
And we're not.
Well, exactly.
It's just that if everything is one thing,
Yeah.
there's nothing for it to happen to or happen upon. It's all just what it is.
Yes, is it Constantine?
Да, здравствуйте, это я.
Yes, hello, it's me.
У меня вот такой вопрос.
I have a question.
Пояснить еще раз
Could you explain once more
линейную и голографическую модель.
the linear and the holographic
Взял нож
model?
и отрезал себе палец.
I understand the linear one.
Разве голографическая модель это не является
So the
And what
holographic,
about the holographic model?
is best represented by this quote from Ramesh. The universe is uncaused. Like a net of jewels in which each is only the reflection of all the others in a fantastic interrelated harmony without end. That's the holographic model. So in that model, each jewel in the array, each jewel is only the reflection of all the others. So no point has any independent existence. Its existence is the reflection of all the others. That's the holographic.
чье существование, с чего началась голограмма? Что являлось первым источником?
So what did the hologram start with? Like, what was the first one? The first source.
But there is no first source. Everything is. You see, when you're asking about the first source, you're saying, what caused it? And what Ramesh is saying is that the universe is uncaused.
Can you, hi everyone. Let me speak in English. I just have a quick note to what you taught about holographic concept of universe, and my understanding. I will just share my understanding because my academic background is mathematics, and I'm a mathematician, and I'm also like computer like guy, and we have a concept of fractals in mathematics. Fractals are like complex structures that reflect themselves, and they have infinite infinite self-reflection. Like you can zoom into fractals like infinitely, zoom in and zoom out, and you just, wow, it's so beautiful to observe these fractals. So like there is no beginning of end on fractal. It's just a fractal. And that's why my understanding that the universe, the reality, is just a huge fractal, where but it's so complex, so complex that we don't see this pattern. In order to enjoy the fractal as a mathematics, you have to see like maybe formula, you have to see like pattern. But once you see the pattern, you are like captured by beauty of fractal. And the same with the universe. You can just actually everything here like is a fractal. Like any object, like any object can be is everything has anything. Every single atom contains everything, and this is kind of wow. Who like you can see at like you can see at anything. You can see at flower, you can see at stars, you can see at microscope, you can see like any stones. And this is just part of fractal. And in fractal, everything is anything, and everything is anything. Like you see, this is like my understanding as a mathematician.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what my comment on.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to understand the value of like an intellectual understanding, or like, I guess it's not even necessarily up to me whether it becomes understood intellectually, but it seems like we're all here to gain some sort of conceptual understanding of reality. But it seems like in order for whatever shift potentially to happen, it seems like there has to be some level of intellectual understanding of it, but I guess maybe not at the same time.
No, but an intellectual understanding is not essential for ascendant recognition to happen. For some people, it is. It is intermediate. The intellect is the intermediary for some people. Others, the intellect ends up being an obstacle. The intermediary becomes ultimately an obstacle. For others, they bypass the intellect entirely. It's simply not how that organism. So for them, the insights, the same insight comes, the same recognition comes, but it comes through in an entirely different manner.
Mhm.
And I mean, we could say that it comes through the heart, or we come through the intuition, or through a non-intellectual process, non-conceptual process.
Yeah, it feels like I spend so much time like grappling with the concepts, and I guess it's ultimately not, I can't change that, but that's just what is happening.
That is what has happened, yes. Now, what the next moment brings, we don't know.
Mhm.
And it's often surprising for me when, I mean, my spiritual path had been primarily intellectual. And then I met Ramesh and my heart burst open. It was just went, and I mean, I knew I was in the presence of something. I couldn't conceptualize it, but I knew it. There was no question for me. And the way I characterize that is to say that there's this, my heart burst open. There's this expansion, absolute expansion. And it was the feeling that accompanied that was what I would call love. And which was surprised the shit out of me. That was not how I normally process things. That's not how I would normally imagine I would know something. But yes, Larry.
Вань, хочу прояснить по поводу голографической
I'd
модели.
like to clear up something about the holographic model. Can you liken it to a room filled with mirrors when everything reflects everything, like and goes on and on until eternity?
Yes. Except in a room full of mirrors, there are mirrors that are independent of each other. In the holographic model, the existence of each point in the holograph is dependent on the reflection of all the others. So there is nothing that exists independent of the others. In a hall of mirrors, you can take out one mirror but otherwise it's a very similar. Yes, Constantine.
Вы сказали, что испытали Крамышу чувство, которое назвали любовью.
You said that you felt towards Ramesh something which you could call a love.
Это что-то более поподробнее про это рассказать.
But this was not the physical love of one person to another, probably. I guess it was like something bigger. Could you talk a bit more about that?
Well, it was both, actually. Especially in the beginning, it was a very romantic kind of love, actually. I'm heterosexual, so there was no sexual component in this love, but there was a very profound desire to be connected to this person and this body. And to touch him and to massage him and to talk with him and to be connected with him. So there was that component, that physical component as well as the more esoteric or ethereal kind of love.
Просто читаешь, слушаешь всех, и там говорят вот.
It's just that you read things, you listen to people, and they say, be love, but I don't really understand what that means, or how to be love.
You'll have to talk to them, Constantine.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Маша, спасибо за перевод. Сегодня по полной отработала. Без перерыва. Обалдеть.
Да, спасибо огромное. Чудесный сатсан. Да.
Всем привет. Меня зовут Адам. Рад знакомству. Мария, вы были переводчиком. Классно получается. Я посмотрел на вашу работу. Классно.
Есть чему поучиться.
Я попробую в субботу в эту.
Мы будем только рады, Адам.
Счастливо. До субботы.